Hello YouTube, this is Omagent here with a response to a comment that was made in one of my recent Wargame Airland Battle beta videos by someone called Scorpion View. And basically he asked me why I was not making Battlefield 3 videos anymore. I responded to him, but his comment got me thinking, which is, I view Battlefield 3 in extremely high regard. I think it is a very good game, one of the best games I've ever played, but I barely play it anymore. And when I do, I just don't enjoy it and I stop playing it again. So it's pretty much unplayable for me at the moment. And why is this? Because I know it's a good game, I've played hours of it, but I just can't enjoy it anymore. So I've done a bit of a think, a bit of a brainstorm, and I've come up with some ideas on why this is, and I'm going to express them in this video. So I'm going to start off with a single player campaign. And the first thing I don't like about it is a very linear single player campaign. It's all point A to point B, shoot all the bad guys in between, which just spoils its replay value. The storyline is fixed so it doesn't vary, so there's no choice. Every time you play the level, it's exactly the same thing over and over again, which means there's no real point of replaying it. You play it once and that's it basically. Now I know what you're saying is this thing's probably doesn't make that much of a difference, because Battlefield 3 is, and presumably Battlefield 4, are a multiplayer focused game. So why am I finding problems with a single player campaign? And that's the thing, but because even though Battlefield is a multiplayer focused game, the single player still has a vital importance, which is it's supposed to act as a tutorial for the multiplayer. So something to practice on, something to ease new players into the mechanics of the game, so they're not immediately immersed in multiplayer. Battlefield 3 does not support this at all. For example, the jet level in Battlefield 3 gives you absolutely no training for flying a jet in multiplayer. So I think the single player campaign is quite lacking in these regards. And to improve it, I definitely think that you should be able to choose your loadout before you go into levels. You should be able to choose what attachments you have on the vehicles and all those kind of features to make it more enjoyable. Next, the co-op campaign. So the first problem with the co-op campaign in Battlefield 3 is Battlefield's multiplayer is focused on squads of 4 players. So why is there a co-op campaign for only 2 players? You should make a co-op campaign for 4 players, okay? Also, co-op campaigns, just as single player campaigns, should be a tutorial to get used to the mechanics of the game. Co-op campaigns should be of use as a practice ground for multiplayer, so you can try out different builds, you can try working together, you can practice working together as your squad, and you can try out setups that work well as a squad. So you can test out tank builds, squad builds, and strategies as a team to see if they work out or not before going into multiplayer in a more easy and less stressful environment. Then we move on to customization. The first problem I have with it is the menu design for customization is deeply flawed. There are way too many guns for the style of customization Battlefield 3 has to work. It gets confusing cycling through every single gun in a class, because you're just cycling through and then you might miss it, not notice it, and you just cycle through again and again. It's just not enjoyable. It's not nice, it's not relaxing, it's stressful. So here's a solution possibly. Okay, so you go into your class setup, you press assault, and then you press primary, and then 3 icons will show up: assault rifle, PDW, shotgun. You click whatever type of gun you want, rather than it giving you every single possible gun you could have in primary. And then it shows you all the different guns in the assault rifle class, the PDW class, or the shotgun class. And then you can pick the gun you want, and then the attachment options show up, okay? Battlefield 3 is a very grindy system for attachments unlocks, where it's just score, which is boring. What you could do is have that principle for some of the basic attachments, so no matter how well you play, if your persistence with a gun is rewarded with attachments. But for the more powerful attachments like extended mag, a particular sight that's very good, an underbarrel launcher, stuff like that, or the rail to allow you to fit an underbarrel launcher for quick sighting, all the popular and powerful attachments, those should be completed by assignments, so that you put serious time into a weapon and you're rewarded with not just your persistence for using a weapon, but your skill with that weapon. And this is rewarded by getting you the more powerful attachments that just grinding the gun will not get in any case. Okay, So the final problem I have with customization is when you have save a custom setup, make it save your setup, okay? Throughout this entire Battlefield 3's lifespan, I've been in the middle of a match and it just removes your setup and pushes you back to the default one. So I've set it up for one, and then in the middle of the game, for no reason, it just returns me to the one I had before. I didn't change anything, it just sets it back, okay? Now this is extremely annoying. I've been irritated by this the whole game, and it's very off-putting, especially for vehicles. So then moving on to multiplayer. First of all, the maps are designed purely for consoles. Maps on consoles, they're too big and there are too few players in them. They're just barren wastelands most of the time, especially the armored kill maps. There's, good luck finding anyone in those maps unless you're playing armored kill. And even when you do find them, it's the case where you spawn, jump in a vehicle, which makes you move faster, so you'd think you'd be able to find someone. You're just like driving around for 2-3 minutes before you see someone, and that's just annoying. Their maps are just too barren. There's not enough action. Okay, you're just driving around, bored. There's a guy, kill them. Bored. Rinse and repeat. And now another big problem, and this is probably the single biggest problem I have with multiplayer, which is there is a lack of incentive to play, a lack of motivation. So, for example, upgrading weapons at present is just grinding them. Spend enough time with any weapon and you can upgrade it. And once you get the attachments you like for it, there's just nothing after that. There's no real challenge for upgrading weapons. And then your level, once you've unlocked a gun that you like, if you like any of the guns, there's no real reward. The whole kernel, like 1 to 100, there's literally nothing except for a little symbol next to your name. It gives you no reward for it. And that's just pointless to have all these levels, and it just gives you nothing. Also in Battlefield, once they introduced custom servers, there's no reason to play the objective anymore. Most games last well in excess of 2 hours because people get set it to 1000% tickets, because that's epic. Lots of tickets, yay, long games. But it's just like when you go into a game of Conquest, the game is probably going to be lasting longer than you're playing it. So do you really care who wins? Do you really push to capture the objectives, to get the points to win the game? Because it's, you'll probably be dead by the time this game is finished. What's the point? And also the ticket modding is catastrophic for Rush, because either you set the tickets too low, which means the attackers haven't got a chance of getting anywhere near the MCOMs, or you set the tickets way too high, which means the defenders have no chance because the attackers can just use attrition warfare to wear the defenders down. In any game on Rush that isn't 100% tickets, it's either biased way towards one or the other, and attackers usually have a big bias anyway in Rush by the vehicles they get, so there's no need for that. Another problem with multiplayer is that all the guns, okay, Battlefield 3 has a ton of guns in it, but they're all similar. That none of them feel unique. None of them have their own unique selling point. All the guns feel exactly the same, and what's the point in having a million guns when they all feel the same? Like all the assault rifles, I know there are tiny little differences, like bullet spread and recoil and tiny rate of fire changes, but it just doesn't feel like that. Everything just feels the same. So you're just like, oh, I'll have an F2000, I'll have an AK, I'll have an AN94. That's what they need. They need every single gun to have something unique about it, its own unique advantage, its own unique disadvantage. A situation where that gun is the best in the game at it, and a situation where that gun is useless, or they can just have guns that are averaged out but not excel in any area. Not just have every gun that's just a bland shade of beige, okay? You need different colours. Also, squad proficiencies. Now, these are okay. I don't have a problem with squad proficiencies, but there has to be a system where you cannot have two of the same type, because it's okay when you're talking to the other players, but there's often times, and I've experienced this regrettably, where you end up in a squad for one way or another, you're not paying attention, and everyone is running the same proficiency, which is just stupid. So they need to fix this. Either one, make a proficiency stack, so if multiple people are using the same one, the benefit increases, or two, instead of just picking a proficiency for your class to use, how about you pick your favourite 1 to 4 and rank them? So, for example, say you've got squad sprint is your favourite and squad ammo is your second favourite, and you join a squad where someone has squad sprint, the game automatically switches you to squad ammo without you having to do anything. so that everyone has a different proficiency, but you don't have to fiddle about arguing over it. Because no one wants to blink first. So this allows everyone to have the same, not the same, have different squad proficiencies, because it's just one of those annoying little niggles. Also, squad spawning is majorly flawed in Battlefield, because you can just click and spawn, and you spawn right next to your buddies, which one allows these sort of blitz attacks where one guy sneaks in and then he can literally spawn a whole army from himself, which is just stupid. Or say you're killing one guy and he spawns in a doppelganger who kills you. It's just stupid. You know, you're taking one guy, you've almost got him, but he spawns in, you're dead. It's annoying, okay? I think they should implement something like, I'm not sure if you've ever played it, but I think I have some videos on it somewhere on my channel. Medal of Honor Warfighter's Fireteam spawn system. That was a great spawn system, okay? Where if you're near an enemy, you cannot spawn on your teammate. Or if your teammate's under fire, you cannot spawn him, so you don't spawn in the middle of a hell of machine gun fire. And don't say, oh, you know, you spawn prone if your teammate's prone. But sometimes, like, he's just in cover that's big enough to support one guy, so whether you're prone or standing up, you're screwed if you spawn on him, and sometimes you can't tell. So that's annoying. Also, there's way too many game modes that get rid of the squad spawning altogether, which more or less defeats the purpose of a squad. Also, a squad is comprised of 4 people, so why do buggies and tanks and other vehicles in Battlefield only have 3 seats? This just ruins the squad mentality of it. You should add a 4th seat in tanks and buggies. So for example, a tank, you'd have the driver who drives the thing, the gunner who controls the main cannon, the machine gunner who controls the machine gun, and the commander who controls the CITV station and can set waypoints for the tank. Some kind of system like that, where you actually encourage the entire squad to work together, not 3 people working on their own and one guy wandering off somewhere because the tank's full. This doesn't work. Also, I know this is a big problem that some of my friends have that caused them to stop playing Battlefield, is the patches and micro patches to the game were just too frequent. There has to be a balance between keeping the game consistent and listening to the community. Battlefield 3 went way too far towards trying to please everyone and ended up pleasing very few people. It's very annoying. You cannot trust the game. So say, like, if you're just a casual player and you jump into the game and you can't trust that your weapon is going to behave the same as it did last week, because they keep changing the pattern spread, the recoil, the FAMAS was nerfed quite heavily, Steiners became really powerful. It's just not nice when you're like patching it every other day. I know that's exaggeration, but it's reinforcing my point that you just can't bend over to suit everyone, okay? There has to be a balance. Keep the game more consistent and you'll keep more players. That's what I think. And finally, there's a limited number of default game modes. So if, for example, all I believe there is Team Deathmatch, Rush and Conquest. I can't think of any others, correct me if I'm wrong. I know they added more game modes like Capture the Flag, Air Superiority, Tank Superiority, 16-man Team Deathmatch, but that doesn't count, okay? It has to be in the game as standard, okay? Standard game modes like Capture the Flag, like Superiority, keep them in the game as standard, because the limited variety of game modes means that you'll struggle to suit the tastes of players. You know, people will get bored of Conquest, and bored of Rush, and bored of Team Deathmatch, and they want something new. And, you know, just having it in the DLC, it's a bit of a cheap cop-out, I think. But there you go, so those are the reasons why I haven't really been playing Battlefield 3. Basically, I don't find it that fun anymore to play, and what I'd like to see them change for future maps. But anyway, this has been Agent. Hope you like this video. I've just realised it's 23 minutes. Wow, I've been chatting on for a long time. It's going to have to be split into 2 parts. Well, thank you for watching. Leave your feedback on my rant in the comments below, and goodbye.